The Lord be with you.
Also with you.
Let us pray. Loving God, we give you thanks for the food that we are eating and have eaten, and ask your blessing on it. We thank you for this time that has brought us together on this Trinity Sunday, and offer our thanksgiving for the work and ministry that goes on in our parish and other parishes of this diocese, and on behalf of our diocese, to help address the needs and concerns of those who are all around us. Continue to raise us up to be able to more adequately respond to those needs, and help us to be reminded of the many ways in which your Son Jesus reached out with love, compassion, care, and concern to all those who were in need. All this we ask in the name of your Son Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
It's wonderful to have Deacon Barbi Click with us today. Many of you know about Barbi from her the work and ministry that she's responsible for with the Trinity Food Ministry. But she's going to talk about something else today that she introduced me to a while back. And we actually devoted our Christmas Eve offering to help to support this new ministry that Barbi is going to share some information with you about today. So it's something that I'm personally excited about, and that we had a wonderful response to on Christmas, and we're going to continue to learn a little bit more about it today. Barbi, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Okay, I got it. Thank you for being St. Peter's, because you all are absolutely amazing. I say we need, and you just jump in and immediately respond. You're absolutely amazing, and I will thank you as manager of Trinity Food Ministry for all you do. I know that there is a big load of things to go to Trinity either this afternoon or early this week, so I thank you heartily for all of that. However, now I'm taking off my Trinity Food Ministry manager hat, and I'm putting on my diocesan missioner of Jubilee Ministry hat. I am the missioner for Jubilee Ministry. I've been the missioner. I've been the head of Jubilee Ministries for quite a few years. Trinity Food Ministry is a Jubilee Ministry Center, and there are 4 more Jubilee Ministry Centers now in the diocese, and I'm always looking for those people who do more. So Jubilee Ministries, just to set it up a little bit. Whoop, jumped ahead. Okay, Jubilee Ministries was established by the 67th General Convention in 1982. I think the Trinity Food Ministry became a Jubilee Ministry Center in 1993. And this was reaffirmed in 2018 with the mandate. The Jubilee Ministry mandate is to be a ministry of joint discipleship in Christ with poor and oppressed people wherever they are found, to meet basic human needs and to build a just society. The whole point is charity is necessary because people need a sandwich, they need food, but we also need to build a just society, because this society that we live in right now is very unjust for a very large number of people. There is a prophetic role of empowering local people with the words of the prophet Micah: do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. And by responding to the gospel of Matthew's call to feed the hungry, give drink to the thirsty, welcome the stranger, clothe the naked, care for the sick, and visit the imprisoned. These are all roles in Jubilee Ministry. And it fits perfectly with our diocesan mission statement: to walk humbly with God and our neighbor. We seek justice, act with love, and live the good news of justice. As a part, as a vision, as a whatever you want to call it, at some point a while ago, I came up with this idea of a food truck. Working at Trinity Food Ministry, one of the things that I know from the people who come in is that there are many people who cannot actually make it to the food ministry, to the program, to the pantries, the meal program. so they go without, or either they have to depend on other people, either to get them there or to take the food to them. So this can be problematic because whenever you depend on anybody, whenever you have to be beholden to someone else, you know what happens. People eventually get tired of having to help you all the time. And so they wind up without any food. They wind up not being able to get where they need to be. So we had this thought that a food truck could possibly meet the needs of some people. And then I was talking with the people, there's a harm reduction group that we work with. Harm reduction is just trying to keep people from dying. We know that people use drugs, we know that. And we know that addiction is so bad that it's not something that's just going to go away just because, someone needs to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. So what the harm reduction idea is to make sure that Narcan is available so that they can, if there is an overdose, that they can be brought back to life. Pardon me. So in talking with the people with the harm reduction, one of the things that when they go out into the neighborhoods to reach people about gun violence and about drug addiction, they can't really get their attention because the people are so hungry. They're hungry. They want food. And so, again, here comes this idea of the food truck. So we started talking to them and started thinking about what would it be like if when the STL, which is the harm reduction group, when they go out, what if we followed them? What if we had a food truck that could follow them? And we could feed the people, and then their physical hunger would be sated, so that then maybe the people from the harm reduction group could actually talk to them, and they might be in a space and a place where they might be able to hear more about the harm reduction and eventually some method of recovery. So this was all where we were with that. So the purpose of the food truck is to offer meals cooked as ordered, because poor people very rarely get choices. So both food and choice. The goal of the Just Food Truck is to reach people whose lives are so complicated by extreme poverty in the St. Louis metro area and whose hunger is immediate. This is purely a form of charity, and while I'm all about advocacy, Gun Violence Awareness Weekend, this is just, this is an important aspect of this, because here's a couple of things. This is what the truck looks like right now, because we did actually purchase it. It is actually in the process of being built. And part of that is thanks to you. We got a $25,000 grant from the New Ventures in Community Ministry from the diocese. We got a $10,000 grant from Christchurch Cathedral's outreach program. Yeah. And then we got $3,030, I think, from St. Peter's Christmas donation. And then we've had various other individual donations that have come through. I've applied for a UTO grant. I hope I get it. That will mean a second truck. This one will go to the rural areas, and the new one will be built for the city. But anyway, this is what the truck looks like right now. So it's just a basic shuttle van. It's going to have a lot of renovations. We're working with Bill Ingalls in St. Peter's. He has a group called Fusion Foods Group. And they do a lot of food for Mercy Center and different organizations. They have these food trucks that they make, and then they send them out, and they do all this awesome work. So it was really kind of, this is another one of those spirit things. I feel like I'm rambling, so stop me if I sound like it. Come, Holy Spirit. Okay. This is one of those Holy Spirit moments. A friend of ours at the cathedral knew that we were looking for a food truck. And so she sent me this link. And so I got to looking at it, and I was talking backwards and forth to the guy on Marketplace. And you know how you have to make sure that they're real people, right? And they have to make sure you're a real person. So we go back and forth for a little while, and then we both established that, oh, okay, this seems legit. So Debbie and I, my wife Debbie, who is here with me, we ended up going out to St. Peter's to look at this truck that he had. Well, our first impression was, oh my gosh, this thing is huge, because it was I don't know how familiar you are with vehicles, but it was an MT-50 Freightliner, which was monstrous.
The size of a UPS truck.
Yeah, it was just really, really huge. So, but we got to talking to Bill, and he got really excited about the whole thing that we were talking about doing, and he wanted to be a part of it. He said, I'll work with you. He said, we'll figure it out. He even put the deposit down on this truck for us before we had the money to him. So that's how much the Holy Spirit is working in this whole thing. This was what, less than a year, no, right at a year ago that I started talking about this to Bishop Dion. And from that point on, it has just, and then I talked to David and Jimmy Gimmerts and just all sorts of people who have just gotten so excited about it. Again, this is the inside of it, what it looks like right now, and it's really in good shape, because some of them we've seen have not been in good shape at all. This is one that's in the process. It's not our truck, but it's another one that he's working on right now. So they go in, they gut it, and they start putting in all the stainless steel, which is for health code. So let's see, where's this is the biggest thing. This is the vent, the fire suppression system, and so those will have to be there, right in there. So all of this, the walls and everything will be stainless steel. This is just a mock-up. It's not necessarily going to be blue. And this right here, according to Janice Greenbaum, our diocesan person, they put that label on, they put that logo on wrong. So it's supposed to be flat. So that will have to be corrected. But this is the basic type of idea. This is a pass-through window right here. This is the window that will be open. And the back door, of course. And it's sort of what it's going to look like. So I expect that St. Peter's will be one of the first places we come to when we get it. And Bishop Dion has said that he wants to do a launch. So I don't know if it's going to include champagne crashed onto it or not, but he wants to do a big diocesan lunch. So I want you to know, I want y'all to be there. Oops, wrong direction. Okay, this is the inside, basically exactly what it will look like. The 3 sinks that are safety, you know, all that, the wash, rinse, and sanitize. The stainless steel prep, this is the flat griddle where we'll do the sandwiches. I don't know that we'll use a stove and oven, but we've got one just in case. 2-door fridge, the sandwich prep table, the stainless steel table just with the warmers right there, steam table, and then another prep table. So we're going to have a short menu, and it's going to be basically 4 different types of sandwiches, and they're going to be fairly simple sandwiches, but we will have the sandwich. We will have a in the stainless prep table here. One of them, I can't remember which one. Right here, I think. It has where you can keep the cold veggies and things like that. So we'll have you'll have the choice of a cold sandwich or a hot sandwich. It could be a grilled cheese sandwich or a cheese sandwich, or, you know, and hopefully we'll have some sort of meats in there if people want the meats. But we're just going to have different types of sandwiches, a tuna melt or a plain tuna sandwich type of idea. And then just be able to grill it or serve it, make it to order as they choose.
Where does nutrition come in?
Nutrition is, we won't be serving bologna We will have the choice of peanut butter sandwiches because there'll be kids and plus there'll be grilled peanut butter sandwiches. Have you ever had a grilled peanut butter sandwich? It's really good. Yeah, fruit rather than chips and things. So,
I like Spam sandwiches.
yeah, we probably not gonna. That would be a big hit. I can guarantee you. It is one of the things that people really ask for a lot at the food pantry. But we're probably not going to do those because here's part of the problem. You know, I didn't go over the food deserts and all of that, and the reason for all of this. Will that stay in there? Okay, so, hello, did it stay on? Okay. I don't know if you know this or not, you probably do, but there are causes of segregated food insecurity in St. Louis City and the county too. And it starts all the way back in 1916, where there are actual laws in effect that actually segregated people and put laws into place that made it illegal for black people, people of color, to be in certain areas or to live in certain areas. And what happened, you all know about the white flight. It's the birth of most of the counties, the suburbs. White flight happened. The city, when white people rushed out of the city, so did grocery stores. Grocery stores followed the people. You're not going to find a Straub's, or you're not going to find a Deerberg's in the city. You're not going to find a Straub's in the South City where we live. You'll find Aldi's. You'll find Schnucks. Schnucks fairly well integrated throughout the city. But what creates a food desert is when you have a census tract of low income and there's more than 100 households in the area that do not have a car, so therefore it limits their access to grocery stores. So if you live in the city without a car and it is more than half a mile to a grocery store, you live in a food desert. We live in a food desert. It's just barely defined. It's not a food desert to us because we have a car and we can get wherever we need to go. But for a lot of people who live in our neighborhood, they walk. They walk everywhere. And you see people walking and they've got all these bags of groceries that they've gone down to, what's it called, Sack and Save? Save a Lot. Save a Lot. They go down and Save a Lot and they're walking back home and they may have 10 grocery bags. And that's just a lot. And to get to a bus from our house, we live in Gravois Park, and to get to a bus, you have to walk 2 blocks through a very not so good block, or you walk 3 or 4 blocks down to get to Jefferson to get to a bus station there. So you can't even, you're as close to the grocery store as you are a bus stop where we live. So this is a problem, not for us, but for other people. So these are things that are clearly outlined in our laws, and thankfully, supposedly it was all over in 1968 with the Fair Housing Act, but we know how that goes. So low food insecurity is lower quality, and the variety or desirability of food available is not very good. So I said the grocery stores fled the city, right? What took their place were neighborhood grocery stores, the corner stores. Most of them are located on corners. When we had kids living with us, we had a rule, and it was, do not hang out on the corners. You may not hang out on the corners. Because in the city, and in any city, it's not just St. Louis, I don't care what the news says, it's any big city. You have more crime in that area, and the reason is because of the racial segregation. And it's because of the food insecurity comes from that. Well, there's food available at those corner stores, but it's chips and candy, it's packaged things, it's processed foods, none of it is good, healthy food. And if they do have, nothing is organic for sure. So the point of this food truck is to offer healthy food, to try to have food that I would buy, that I would eat, that I would want my kids to eat. And we try to buy organic. That's not an option. I don't know why organic, where you're using less pesticides and all that, costs more, but it does. I don't understand that, but whatever. So, let's see, the other thing. In the city, Black St. Louis City residents are nearly 2 times as likely as white residents to live in a census tract with low access to healthy food. So the food apartheid, it's a term used to highlight the lack of access to healthy food caused by a system of institutional racial segregation and discrimination. And food justice, the Just Food Truck, all of food justice, is a grassroots initiative that began in response to food insecurity and economic pressures that prevent access to healthy, nutritious, and culturally relevant foods. Flipping back and forth between Trinity Food Ministry and Jubilee Ministry, which they're really sort of one and the same in many instances. But one of the things that we pride ourselves on is our partnership with Central Reform Congregation, which is right there in that Central West End area. And they provide us each year the fresh vegetables that we ask for, that they have actually talked to the people. Like Dudley comes and talks to the people. She knows what they need in clothing. So also does Karen from Central Reform Congregation come and talk to the people to ask them what kind of vegetables they like. And the three top vegetables are collard greens, mustard greens, turnip greens. And these are really healthy foods. They're considered poverty foods, but poverty foods are often the ones that offer the most nutrition. And it's what keeps a culture alive. It's what keeps a body alive. And so I think last week we got 91 pounds of greens from Central Reforms, and they're just gearing up. They're just now going. They're just now getting it all to us. They're growing it. They have their mitzvah urban farm, and they grow this specifically for Trinity Food Ministry. So we really like spring and summer at the pantry. So. Okay, wait for the microphone. He asked me to. Oh, David's got it. She's right there.
Then why did our government, for food stamps and stuff, offer fast food and processed food at checkout lines and candy and junk instead of nutritious stuff that we would encourage?
Because you can't mandate what someone likes.
You can mandate by not giving it to them or offering it or forcing
But
it
then
as an
you are
option.
treating them like a child or someone who's not capable of making good decisions. I would dare say that there's several people in this room that at one point or another have gone through fast food lines.
No, I'm not discouraging that, but wouldn't we want to encourage, it's like encouraging good food for the kids at school. And when I was, during COVID, when we had food, when we didn't have school, we had homeschooling, and the school would offer food for a room, and it was all processed food. It was nothing I would give my child.
Oh, yeah.
And we picked it up every day, because it was free and stuff, but I stopped doing it after a couple weeks because it was all processed food, stuff I will not buy my child.
Yeah.
And why do we allow that? Because that's why we have all this obesity and unhealthiness. And why
I
are we
agree.
encouraging it?
I agree, and that's the reason why we're going to try to offer healthy food, as to try to figure out the ideology, the thinking process, or the reasoning or actions of our U.S. government or state government. It is far beyond my abilities to do that. I personally do not, I think that food stamps, you can't, it's like all the hullabaloo that happened when someone using their EBT card was seen buying steaks and there was this big affront.
I don't
of
care
like-
about steaks,
I
that's
know,
food.
but that's what
That's
I'm
food.
saying.
That's not processed food. That's
I
not
agree.
healthy for kids.
I agree. I
And
understand.
people.
Yeah. I don't have an answer for you. Dudley.
Could you talk a little bit about how you coordinate with the other group, the crisis group that's going?
Oh, yeah.
And is this just, and then my second thing is it several meals for them, so they can go home with a meal for the 3 days, or how does this gonna kind of work?
We have never done this before, so there is quite a bit of tweaking that will have to happen as we go along. So I'm not sure. At this particular moment, my thought is offer food to the person that is right there. That is not to say we won't get asked for, lots. Just like, even when St. Peter's comes to Trinity to do the hot lunch, anybody who wants seconds has to wait until the people that are coming in are served their first meal, because and I think that it'll be the same way on the food truck. Let me serve you and the people behind you. Let me serve you first, and then we'll serve you seconds. We'll serve you to-goes. We'll give you something to take with you. Hold on just a second. Let me answer her second part of her question. Tony and I forgot her name. I'm working with several people at the T. I've got a meeting this next week with Tony. He's going to be helping me help us determine neighborhoods where we'll be actually going. I'm also talking to Valerie Patton. She used to work for the Urban League. She's at All Saints and Ascension in Northwoods. She's very familiar, and she's very involved in a lot of diocesan things, justice things. So I'm going to be talking with her about places to go. So we're going to be determined over the next month. That's going to be a primary goal, is to determine where are we going to go. Operation Food Search has the St. Louis Mobile Market, and it's a big bus that they turn into, or it's a metro bus that they turn into a market. So they go into these neighborhoods, and people are allowed to use their EBT cards, and they can buy fresh vegetables. There's all sorts of fresh vegetables. So what they do is they go to places like People's Choice, People's Clinic, Affinia Clinic, Urban League, a couple other places I can't remember right now, but they go to actual places. They'll stay 2 hours in the morning, then go to someplace else 2 hours in the afternoon, and they do this 3 times a week. So that's what we hope to do, is something similar to that. Where are the people already congregated? So rather than just going here, into different neighborhoods, then going to actual places where we can stop and sit for a while, and people will already be there.
And you'll have a regular pattern, and you'll have a way to communicate, some sign, maybe with a magnet on it, food bus coming to this afternoon at 3.
Yeah.
Something that really,
A schedule,
they can
Yeah,
count on.
yes, a schedule, yes.
schedule, so they could
Yeah,
count on it.
yeah, because that is the number one thing. If you say you're gonna be there, you gotta be there.
Absolutely.
It is the absolute, so.
Have you all coordinated at all with how Meals on Wheels work? Because obviously they've been doing this forever.
They have been doing it forever. Have they come back? I know they haven't in the Central West End.
I don't know, but
I
I
don't
mean,
either.
they're nationwide.
People have been doing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're nationwide, it just
Yeah,
depends.
Yeah, that's a good
They've
idea.
been doing it for a long time, and they've been reaching, shut-ins and
They
stuff
have.
forever.
Why invent the
No,
wheel?
I got one here.
Why reinvent the wheel?
So the other thing is, are you coordinating all the different, just like you're starting to mention different groups doing stuff, so is there some way to get an overall view?
Dudley, use the microphone. Sorry, Connor. I was just sitting there watching you both.
Back in the 80s, I feel like I'm looking backwards. The homeless situation was, all these different groups doing different things, not communicating. So we sat down, and is the food community doing the same thing? So, for instance, you look at the city or the county or the rural area, and you say, okay, these are the 5 groups here, or the 25 groups here, or these are the individuals, and how do we organize so that we sit down and we understand what the need is, what our resources are, and figure out a way to allocate those, and people take on and coordinate. So if your food truck's gonna be there, does the vegetable truck go someplace else? Or is it important for the vegetable truck to come to your place? You know, I don't know what the plan would be, but I think getting people together, either in an area or overall, and beginning to kind of identify the specific needs and then target them and allocate things. And then also your grants will be much bigger. If you've got, we started the community family partnership over here on Page because there was no homeless shelter in the county at all in the mid-'80s.
Right.
But it took 14 groups, including St. Peter's was one of them, National Council of Jewish Women, the Ladue Garden Club, Church Women United, League of Women Voters, all the volunteer groups we could get, and everybody took a piece of it. But I'm just thinking that I'm feeling the same way, that there's the opportunity out there to really address this in a holistic way.
I agree with you, and thank you very much. Yes, we're working with partnerships, we're working with different groups, and that's one of the things I'm going to be working with in the Emory Washington convocation first, and then hopefully through each one of the convocations in the diocese. There is an evangelism tool here that can be used because, one, the truck can come to different parishes on Sundays as a special day, whatever. And we can talk about poverty, and we can talk about just food. And so there's that evangelism tool. So I hope to build up partnerships with different parishes, just like we've done with St. Peter's, just like we've done with Trinity Food Ministry. Trinity Food Ministry would not be anything without the partnerships that we have built. There are 12 different partner churches or congregations that help with the hot lunch. There are about 6 different parishes that bring goods to us every month or every 6 weeks. Some of them are 6 weeks. There are those that we receive grants from. So this is, none of this would happen. There is, me does not exist without us. We have to be together in this whole thing. So that's one of the major things that I have been doing, is building these partnerships and building these relationships. And so I don't know what we're going to do. I know the Metro bus at Market's schedule. So I know that. I want to talk with them and just get their take on how it's going. I know they have a lot of bus breakdowns, so that will be a I get text messages all the time saying Metro Market will not be at blah blah today. So that's a problem. That's always a problem when that happens. So we're hopefully going to have prevention protocol in place to. Yeah, really. When we first started, my thought was that we would potentially be seeking those neighborhoods where people were actually housed, but what you call underhoused, because they may not have electricity, they may not have water, they've got a roof, but they may not have the ability to cook. So having the meals available and being in that neighborhood. I don't know if that's going to work. That may be one of those things that have to be tweaked. There are the homeless populations that we can go to. I don't know about homelessness in the county now, but in the city, in the past 10 years, the city government has effectively scattered the homeless populations so that it's extremely difficult to find very large groups or groups of any number. So the people are, while they're walking around and everything, but where they congregate is not as obvious as it used to be. Plus, there are several different groups that actually do work from a food perspective for people who are unhoused. That said, I work very closely with the people, the outreachers in the Central West End, in the city, and so they are one of the partners also. So they're the one of the people that I'm speaking to about where do I need to go? Where does this food truck need to go? So, and that will be one more evangelism tool. The food truck, the Episcopal Diocese of Missouri will be going into places where you don't normally see the Episcopal Diocese, the Episcopal Church at all. So we're going to be going into these places. I'll always have on my collar, I'll always have on my ID badge, and I will always be available for prayer, for just a ministry of presence. And I want to build up that ministry of presence too. I don't want to be the only one. I want others to be, it doesn't matter if you're ordained or whether you're a lay person. It is just having that gift of listening and praying. We've got, wait, here, yes.
I know there are sister churches working with the Urban League to do, I think it's a Saturday block barbecue.
Grills to Glory.
Right.
Yeah. That's where Valerie Patton comes in.
I'm thinking there may be a way to synergize food opportunities beyond the barbecue. And they may already be doing that, but they're church focused too, and it's a great
Definitely.
sister church opportunity.
Yes, that Grills to Glory is a really amazing program. It's includes the churches in the neighborhoods and everything. I think she had a, Connor,
I was just gonna say, the church precincts really know what's going on too.
the church who?
Precinct, not the church, the police precincts.
Oh, the police precincts, okay.
Yeah, they know what's going on
Yes,
too.
they do. Yeah, I work with the NSI in Central West End very closely. Yeah, we meet every week.
Oh, the city, I mean.
Yeah, the city, of course, we're familiar with ours in the South City, in Gravois Park. So, anybody else have any other questions?
Thank you.
So Barbie, can you say a little bit more about where things stand now with the funding of the current truck? And then your goal, you said, is to try to find funding for a second truck?
Yes. I applied for the United Think offering. I asked for 50,000. We'll see if I get it. It's approved by the diocese. I should know over the next 2 weeks. I think they decide in around June 11th or 10th. So not this week, but the next one. So I'll hear about that. I've also applied for Incarnate Word Foundation grant. They were kind of excited about it. So that's not a very big grant, but it's a grant. So I need more money. We need more money. We need a lot more money.
There are a lot of churches that have facilities like we have in our kitchen that sit doing nothing all week.
I know.
And people could come in and make these sandwiches and stuff ahead of time in a facility like this that has the codes already.
Yeah.
And then you could just take them places and not have to cook them on the spot, and you'd be able to cover a lot more people for a lot less cost.
Yes, but part of that is having choice and allowing the people to,
Well, you can give them a variety.
to have them cook there, to have them
Because,
cook there.
at
Hang on, the idea of the churches that already have their safe kitchens and all, yes, that is one which we've talked to. I think I've talked to Bill about here, but I've also talked to the cathedral, which also has. Trinity's is used enough, and plus it's too little. So anyway, they are there, so thank you, yes.
We have a kitchen in, my church is the little tiny Episcopal church in West Frankfort. And I think for the least last 5 years, our tiny church, we have probably less than 15 people every Sunday. It's tiny. And every week, we put together a snack for our kids for both the evenings and the weekends for poverty kids that are the school district in Williamson County for elementary kids, or in West Frankfort School District. They look at, the school district gives us like a list of 100 kids that they recommend that won't have the foods for them. And we make, or my other members, make the meals for them every single weekend to take home. And it's just 15 people out of the church working together for over 100 kids. I mean, it's amazing what they've been doing.
That is amazing.
You know,
That's
and
wonderful.
they do it all in their kitchen.
That's beautiful.
I'll make it really quick. I just want to thank you for clarifying exactly more about the food pantry. Those of us that contribute all the time, a lot of people just bring their groceries and they don't understand. They know what the need is, but they don't really understand.
Right.
And this has clarified a lot of things for me, just knowing, because our community might be more giving if they truly understood how important this ministry is. So I thank you so much for making it much more clear.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It is, I can't even imagine St. Peter's giving any more than they already do. But you all are just really fabulous. Yes, ma'am.
I just consider often what we give for them to eat. If they are very hungry, then that's the time to introduce some better quality stuff. I remember watching sandwiches being made here years ago with Kelly, and it was that awful Wonder Bread for peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And I said, why don't we provide better bread? And she said, because this is what they like. Well, sorry, if they're hungry, they will eat better bread.
I'm going to be very blunt. That's toxic charity. You determining what someone should or should not do. And I'm not meaning to be too harsh, but I mean, it really is. When we decide, I mean, just because you are poor doesn't mean that your taste buds change overnight. I had one guy who was homeless, and he always asked me for if I got in black olives, sardines, not with mustard, but in oil or water. He had particular desire, tastes. He wanted these things. But for the most part, you give me a carrot, especially if it has dirt on it or it comes in a can, that thing's going to sit there for a long time at the pantry. Black beans, garbanzo beans, chickpeas, whatever you want to call them, they sit there. We have them on the take as many as you want table because 90% of the people do not want them. Those people that do want them, and they take them. But, so I don't know that we're going to be using, we're not going to be using Wonder Bread. But to make someone take a sandwich, what good is if someone doesn't like wheat bread, you make a sandwich according to wheat bread. I mean, even if you go to Subway, you get a choice of what kind of bread you want. So the bread that we will be serving will be a healthy bread, and I hope that I can guarantee you that nothing will have high fructose corn syrup in it, not even the ketchup. So these are things that we can control, that we can watch for, that we can pay attention to. It will be as organic as possible. But that also depends on donations, and it also depends on funds, because just like I said before, those things are more expensive. So,
And the plan is to have different breads. There's
Yeah.
not going to be just one bread.
No,
There
there'll
will
be-
a choice. That's the whole thing about the food truck is a
Choice.
choice.
yeah.
Because these folks don't have choices in most cases. They go to a food pantry and they get carrots, they get, the things that we think that they need. So that's the whole purpose of the food truck, is to be able to give them something that they choose. But we give them healthy choices, and then they take them. So I think that's the part of that.
Yeah, it is. So
And
we
to
will,
cook the food right, to be there to say, how would you like that cooked? If somebody likes peanut butter and banana bread, sandwich, but they want it fried, okay, we're gonna fry it. So it's all about choice. And
Grilled.
Grilled. Excuse me, not fried. Grilled. Fried is with oil, right? Yeah.
No
never
fry.
mind. No fry.
Just to complicate things, I'm sure. Who are the employees that that are going to be working there? Is there a partnership with a group that would be also providing access to job training or opportunity?
I am also talking with Employment Connection, which is a group downtown that has, they help people with training, they help people with jobs, they even, in some cases, can help people with housing. So they have all these, so I cannot do everything. Yeah, exactly. So working in partnership and networking with everybody, yes. That's like the harm reduction for the drugs, working with social workers for housing, especially if someone's over 60, working with Employment Connection for these things. So Employment Connection is probably one of the places that we will take the food truck at a particular time. That's one of the things I'm going to be talking about over the next couple of weeks with them, to see, can we bring the food truck to that point, to your place? Would it benefit anybody? Because that's one of the things in all of this, is that we have not determined what is needed simply because we're sitting there looking. We have heard what the people have said is needed. And so that's why I want to be at places like Employment Connection and at the T, because that's where people are already gathering, and that's where they have told me that this is needed. So we'll be looking at more partnerships.
Barbi, thank you so much. It was
Thank you. Thank you.
It's
I
wonderful to
appreciate
have you here, and we look forward to learning more about how we can help support this as it moves forward.